10 o'clock. I'm just waiting for some people to show up on this live. I'm actually on time today. I am on time today. My daughter cooperated. So we happy that she cooperated this evening. I'm gonna give a few more minutes for people to join. Hey guys, what's going on? I'll wait till about 10:05. You know my lives don't be that long. How y'all doing tonight? I was saying that, yes, today we had no technical difficulties. My daughter went to sleep on time. I actually had time to, beat my face a little bit, just a tad, not too much tonight. But I was able to do that and actually comb my hair. So, I got some things done today. It's been a long day. I know. It's been a long day for everybody. It is Monday. Yes, it's Monday. The days are blurring together. It be like that. I actually was supposed to have somebody on my live, and I'm shouting you out. I hope you get a chance to see my live because I'm going to shout you out tonight because I've been calling you. You know who you are. I ain't going to say no names. Sorry, I got something in my eye. But I was supposed to have company this evening. But I don't know what happened. Oh, I think I got an eyelash in my eye. Hold on, sorry. So I had a whole setup going on, but he's not gonna be on tonight. But that's all right. I'm gonna get him next time. Hey, I was just with you a few minutes ago. I was listening in. Yes, it was a dope it was a dope session. I got in a little late, but I heard some of it. 3 more minutes. Of course. Yes. Anytime. I try to catch it every Monday and Wednesday. Monday's a little bit difficult for me because, I got this going on, but Wednesdays for sure I try to be on. You guys are so cute. Hey. It's so nice to see all my peoples in here. You guys actually stood up tonight. I hear that. I know 10 o'clock is hard for some people. Yes. I was thinking it's very quiet. So I have a new setup. And I know it sounds a little echoey, but should I put like a little music in the background or would that be too much? I'm debating because I feel like it's just so very quiet. I think I really have like an eyelash or something in my eye. Thank you, boo. I love you too. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna I'm not gonna do it now, but I'm gonna try it before next week and see how it goes. Give a little something something. All right, so it's 10:04. One more minute, and then I'm about to talk my ish for whoever's on here and that's listening. Well, thank you guys for being here on another Notorious Moms Mondays. Today, I don't know. I had a conversation with my husband about this. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, but I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just talk about it. So I want to kind of just touch up on my version of like old school marriage versus new school marriage. So I don't really know if there's a difference, right? But I can speak on how I was taught, like, how marriage is supposed to be. I'm newly married, by the way. I just got married. It's been a little bit over a year. And I must say everything kind of happened really quickly because I got married, but I was pregnant and it kind of just went it just kind of went that way. But like my parents never really taught me how to be a wife. You know, I saw my parents were married for like 27 years and they lived together for a really long time before they got divorced. But it was kind of like my mom and my dad, they both had two jobs. They were kind of like on different schedules. So I didn't see like a very affectionate kind of like marriage. So they weren't really like huggy huggy, kissy kissy. Another thing about them is that my parents were like a lot of years apart. So I think they were like, with my mom, she was 17 when she got married, and my dad was like 30 something. So there was like a really, really big age gap. And I think that has a lot to do with why they were not, they were like on separate pages as far as, marriage goes. So they were married, and, my dad was very self sufficient. He cooked, he cleaned, he washed, he did everything himself. And my mom was the same way too. She was like, it's funny because I was listening to a Clubhouse thing that my friend has, and they were kind of talking about like the cleaning. My mom was very OCD as well in the house. She was like super. It stood out to me because I know what that cleaning was like on a Saturday. It had to be like perfect. Um, and that was kind of like her thing. But as far as like the dynamic between my mom and my dad, I didn't see a lot of like affection. Not that they didn't love each other, but I never really seen them hug. I never really seen them kiss. And I wonder if that affects me like in my marriage. Even though I'm very affectionate. I'm a very affectionate person. Anybody that knows me, I'm very affectionate. Um, I like to kiss, I like to hug. I'm like that with my kids too. Sometimes I'm a little bit hard because my kids get on my nerves sometimes. Yeah, I can say that. Anybody that has kids, this is a sidebar. Anybody that has kids, yes, your kids gets on your nerves. It's okay. It is okay to say that your kids get on your nerves because I love them. But some days, like these past couple of days, I've been working from home. I'm going to just drift away for a little bit. This is just my little rant. I've been working from home since last week, Thursday. And I think I spoke about this before, but it's freaking hard working from home with a 1-year-old. I just have to like reiterate that because I know I said that on my last live before, but these past couple of days, they've been a little rough. So again, shout out to all the working moms that are working from home, that have the children at home and are doing everything else with their kids at home. Anyway, back to marriage. So I got married like a little bit over a year ago, and things they haven't been, all smooth. It hasn't been roses. Anybody that tells you that marriage is just peachy keen 24/7, in my opinion, they lying. Because relationships could be difficult sometimes. Not always, but difficult. So one thing I used to see like in my household, my mom was like, we were kind of taught to be a little like I think it's like self-servient. my mom would kind of serve my dad. And that was just kind of like one of those things. It's like, you serve the husband, you serve the kids, you eat last. And that's just something that has been with me. Like, I always eat last. Anybody that's in my house or, comes over for dinner, I'm always eating last. That's just, how I was taught. So that was kind of, one of those things. And they were married for a really long time until they got a divorce. Hello. And, that's just kind of how it went. But being married now in 2021 is a lot of things that I probably wouldn't do, even though I'm married. Like, it's just some shit that I'm just like, hell no. Like, no, I ain't doing it. And me and my husband, we kind of have like these discussions because I can be very bullheaded. I can be very stubborn, very opinionated, and I always have something to say, i.e., while I'm on these lives talking my shit. Because I have something to say and I feel like people want to listen. And if you want to listen, hey, that's why you're here. And if you don't, then that's fine too. It's all good. But we have these conversations, and in that sense, I'm a lot like my mom, because I remember some arguments like my dad and my mom used to have back in the day. My dad was very like calm, collected, and my mom was like the rowdy one. So that's kind of how it went. But now it's like it's so many other things that happen, like in a lot of marriages like before. So like old school women, and when I say like old school, I mean like the older generation women. They went through a lot of shit and they suffered in silence. There was a lot of things going on, like not very pleasant things, but there was some shit going on. I've heard a lot of stories of like families outside the marriage, people having kids outside their marriage, and, domestic violence, a lot of crazy shit that the old school women, they dealt with and they stood. And a lot of times it was because of the kids, if you had kids. In my opinion, that's one thing that I'm not like gonna deal with. I think kids outside of a marriage, for me, that's kind of like, that's my deal breaker. I don't know if anybody else has different kind of deal breakers, but I think that would be my deal breaker. Like, if you are my husband and you have a baby outside of our marriage, I can't be married to you anymore. But back in the day, a lot of women, they stood with their husbands. I'm not really sure why, but they did. Mostly, in my opinion, I'm not a marriage expert. I don't know shit about marriage. I just take it day by day. And that's what I'm going to tell everybody. I take it day by day. I'm not a licensed nothing. So I can't tell you how to be in your marriage. But I know that in my marriage, if my husband was to have a kid with somebody else, I think I'm going to have to just leave his ass. Straight up and down. No judgment to anybody that stays. Everybody has a deal breaker. That would be mine. I don't know about y'all, but that would be mine. Anybody has any deal breakers out there? What's your deal breakers in your relationships? Or in your marriages? If you have any. Some people don't. Some people have husbands or wives and they just let them run wild and do whatever they want to do. But then I'm like, then why get married? If that's what you're going to do, why be in a marriage? Because a marriage is a real big commitment to me. I think that getting married is like, you're making a commitment for forever. But some people don't like to get married, and some people won't get married, and that's okay too. A lot of people won't get married because of other people's finances, a whole bunch of other shit why people won't get married, and that's your prerogative. You don't have to get married if you don't want to. Yeah, that's my deal breaker too. The baby thing. I've heard stories about that. I've heard a few stories about that. I've known a couple of people that has happened to. And it's unfortunate, right? Yep. Physical, verbal abuse, absolutely. That's definitely a deal breaker for some people as well. Cause once you get into that like physical and verbal abuse, it's kind of like it's a trust issue too, and it's just disrespectful. Because I feel like you can argue with somebody and not be disrespectful or not be derogatory or not talk down to them. Some people just can't have arguments like that, though. They can't have arguments without cussing somebody out. I'm guilty of that, I have to say, because I ain't no saint. It's not a good thing, but sometimes shit just happens because you get so mother loving mad in that moment. You kind of just lose it a little bit. And I think that having like a grip on your emotions, that's kind of important as well, especially if you're going to be in a relationship with someone. Sometimes you get mother loving mad. And when you have a child with someone, that's also a commitment as well. But nowadays, and even like, before, people are having kids without being married. Back in the day, that was like really, really like, how do you say, frowned upon? Because it's like, oh, if you're not married, you shouldn't be having kids. I've heard of that before, but who cares? Nowadays, it's a different time. People have kids and are not married, and that's okay too. You don't have to be married to have kids. I heard of some people just like being like having an agreement. Like, hey, if we're not married, we just gonna have a baby. That happens too. And some people don't want to have kids either. That could be a deal breaker for someone else too. Like if you're entering in a relationship and one person wants to have kids and the other doesn't, that can be a deal breaker. But that's why it's good to have these conversations and kind of like have these open, communications to figure out what it is that is your deal breaker. Because you won't know unless you ask, you know? But sometimes when you get into a relationship, those things don't really come up. Yeah, women are not accepting mediocre shit. And neither are men. I ain't gonna sit here. I'm not men bashing. I always say that I'm not men bashing. But I think that nowadays the times are different. Back in the days the man was the breadwinner. A lot of the times the woman stood home, she was with the kids. A lot of times now though, women are making more money than men. They're actually the breadwinners. I think that kind of causes some conflicts in marriages as well. Finances, because men are said to be, they have big egos. No offense to the men, because I have men followers too, and I appreciate y'all. But some men can't deal with the fact that their women make more money than them. That's another issue. And people don't ask enough questions. Yes, very true. Because when you're in the midst and everything is all honky dory and it's just like, oh, I love you, got love coming out of your eyeballs. And these questions don't come up, and it's like, damn, here we are 3 years in, and you ain't never said you ain't want no kids, or you're comfortable where you at, and you don't want to move, or you don't want to do different things. It be like that. Love will fuck you up, and and you kind of get blinded a little bit. Yeah, they are. They are afraid to have these conversations because it's like nowadays, I think back in the days, those conversations were never said to be had. But now I think women as well as men are asking more questions about what kind of partners they have. Like, what are you doing? It's kind of like an interview. They have all these dating websites And it's like, okay, what do you do for a living? You know, what's your credit score? LOL. But people want to know. You don't want to get tied up with somebody that got bad credit. I mean, that's just a fact. But shit happens. So what can you do? Some people don't get married nowadays too because if the other person has a debt, in some instances that can affect you. It's like, okay, you in debt $50,000 and I don't got no fucking debt. Oh hell no, we're not about to intertwine our shit. Sorry. And it's a fact, and that's okay. Everybody has their thing. I feel like though, when was your last STD test? Hi, mama. Yeah, that's a good question. That's definitely a good question. Yep, child support, school loans, all this stuff adds up. Yep, credit is important. It's kind of like one of those things. But I think that if you and your partner sit down and have a conversation in the beginning, y'all can kind of like sort things out. And you'll be able to figure out where you're going in the next steps. Honestly, I didn't have none of those conversations. Some conversations we did have, but a lot of the things we're just kind of like working out along the way. And it happens. Because I ain't going to sit here and tell you that I had any of these conversations. Hell no. I'm going to tell you right now, when I met my husband, it was some bullshit. A lot of bullshit. But anyway, I just loved him. And that was it for me. I didn't really care about anything else. So that was my bad. Maybe I should have asked all these questions. But whether or not, like, you know, I think that a lot of people, yep, it's blind. Love is definitely blind, because I feel like that's one of the things too, is that we don't see the red flags. And when I say we, I mean, you know, men and women. Sometimes the red flags are there, right? And because we love somebody, it's just like, oh, you know, maybe they'll change, or, you know, maybe this will happen. And I don't know. Personally, in my experiences that I've had being in different relationships and also being in my marriage, I don't know if people really, really change at their core. I think that certain compromises and sacrifices that we make, but I think a person doesn't change at their core. Like their character and all that stuff is not gonna change. That's very true. And people do believe that. You know, people do believe that sometimes love is enough. If you love enough, they'll change. If you love them enough, you know, they'll make sacrifices. If you love them enough, things will be different. But sometimes love ain't enough. And Tina Turner said it best. What's love got to do with it? Sometimes love ain't got shit to do with it, because if things are not changing, or there's issues or disagreements, something has to change, right? You can't be doing the same shit over and over again. And exactly, people only change if they want to change. Oh, everybody, people are chatting tonight. I hear that. I got a good topic tonight. Hey. Yep. Right. I believe that. People change only if they want to. But some people don't want to. And that's a fact. Some people just don't want to. And it's kind of one of those things. This is like a saying that I always say. It's kind of like, why buy the cow if you getting the milk for free? Ya tú tienes la vaca. That means you already have, I mean, ya tú tienes la leche, better said, right? You got the milk already, so why the fuck you gonna spend money on a cow? You already got the milk. So what's the incentive? If people don't have an incentive to change, then why the fuck would they? If you keep accepting the same shit. Isn't that like the definition of insanity? You know, doing the same shit over and over and expecting different results. It's not gonna happen. People just don't work that way. Human nature, people just don't work that way. They don't, unfortunately. And some people don't feel like relationships are enough to make a change. And I'm a strong believer in that. Because I feel like if you really do want to make someone happy, then you do what you have to do. Sometimes you put things on the back burner. Sometimes, you put yourself a little in the background and put that other person first sometimes. I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people do, is that they put their partner before themselves. And sometimes that's a problem. Right. And that's fine. If a change was needed for the betterment of the other person, that's super dope. And if they were willing to do that, then that's also great. But sometimes people just don't. They just don't. And I think that you also have to get to the reality is that sometimes they just ain't gonna change. And are you willing to just deal with them that way? That's another thing, because that's everybody's prerogative. This is why we have choices, right? And free will. Because even if a person is an asshole, that's your asshole. You got to deal with that, right? Because then you got them people that be like, you got them friends, or you got them people that be like, girl, I wouldn't deal with that. Or that can't be me. Because I done heard that before. But it's just like you don't know unless you're in the situation. So you can't really speak on it. Right. But I think that, right, it's a struggle. It is a struggle. Definitely is a struggle. But I think that the more important part, too, is that both people have to be willing to do the same thing. You can't have one person be more invested in a relationship than another person, than the other person. Yeah. You can't. That's true. I agree. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. I'm like, wait, people are commenting. Let me just. Yeah, I mean, you can't judge anybody, right? Because everybody goes through their shit all the time and you don't even know. And sometimes we have our friends that also suffer and struggle in silence because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to say anything because, they don't want anybody to look at them funny, or because if they're going through an issue with their partner or their spouse, they don't want to say shit. And that's okay too. You know what I mean? But I don't judge anybody because that's just not how I am. Exactamente. Nadie sabe lo que hay en la olla. How was it? I don't know the rest of it. Only the person que lo menea. That's my Spanglish. Yeah. Because you don't know. Nobody knows what's going on in other people's marriages. You got to take the good with the bad. Absolutely. Definitely. Because with good, there always comes bad. I just feel like my Spanglish, there's more to come, no te preocupes. There you go, más el que la menea. There you go. For my Spanglish speaking people. But I'm about to be closing out soon. Thank you everybody for joining tonight. I know 10 o'clock is hard for some people. Thank for my people for coming through and listening to my ish. But if you guys, like I said, I say this, I'm going to try to say this every week, just give everybody a reminder. If you guys want something to talk about or you guys want me to bring something up, DM me. Let me know. If you want to join my live, also let me know. I'm here Mondays at 10 o'clock. But I'm going to close this out with saying, I know. I try to. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. I'm gonna try. Sometimes, it'd be hard. Like last week was rough. The baby gave me a run for my money, but that's what happens when you have children. My baby went to sleep early. But everybody, love you guys. Give y'all relationships a chance. I know it's hard. One day at a time. Take it one day at a time. Be good. And I will see y'all soon. Hopefully see y'all next Monday. Love you all. Bye.